This is a meeting of the Newbury Library Board of Trustees. I'm the chair, Executive Siri, members present. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Alex Burke.
Here.
Dick Raven.
Here.
Okay. Staff members, Jean Ackley.
Yep, here.
And Erin Umet. Yeah, okay, she's there. And we anticipate Terry and Margaret to be joining us. Okay, so this is the meeting of the Library Board of Trustees. It's an open meeting. It's being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will allow and feature public comment. For this meeting of the Newbury Library Board of Trustees is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the agenda. So I guess that's it. That's the standard line. And if anybody joins us, and Margaret has joined us. Hi, Margaret. If anybody from the public joins us, we'll encourage them to make comment. They'll be duly recognized and allowed to speak after we've had an opportunity to discuss the matters on the agenda, and we encourage public participation. Okay, so Margaret is here. We can go in the proper order of the minutes, not of the minutes of the agenda, but the minutes are the first item on the agenda. So, Margaret, the floor is yours.
All right.
On the screen.
July 24th, the meeting was called to order via Zoom at 10 a.m. In attendance, Dick Passeri, Margaret Grimes, Terry LaTurst, Alex Burke, Dick Raven, Jean Ackerley. The board voted unanimously to approve the minutes from the July 8th meeting. Jean presented the most recent reopening draft document. Jean also shared the NTL reopening, quote, punch list with tasks to complete prior to reopening. The board continued its discussion. The meeting adjourned at 10:50 a.m. And I have a list of documents. That's it.
Any comments? Motion to accept?
I move.
Second?
I second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the director's report.
Okay. Was everybody able to see their documents?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did anybody else's document come in weird colors?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, it was yellow type over.
Yeah, don't even get me started. But luckily, Erin and I figured out how to at least send them off. I don't even understand why it was just those documents and not under others, but I have some work to do on my new monitor. So starting with the budget report. So you have in front of you the two documents, I hope, of the overall expense budget and the wages budget. It's early in the year, so there's not a whole lot of activity, but basically we've passed 12% of the year so far. For the overall budget, which includes the library expenses and the money that we spend from funds, we've spent 27%, and from our municipal budget, we've spent 28%. And that, of course, is because of the large expenditure for MVLC membership, as well as our e-content, which they ask us to pay up front, which was $1,840. So that big expenditure is out of the way. So now things will start to even out. Any questions on the overall expenses?
I don't have any.
All right, and then wages, again, early in the year, 12% of the year passed. We spent 9% of our municipal funds and 2% of our state aid funds. So that's where that stands.
Okay.
Any questions there? All right, and next are statistics, so I'll let Erin run with that. Uh-oh, did you not have it in front? I didn't tell you, did I? Do you have it in front of you? Oh, why are you muted? Oh,
I muted myself just to prevent feedback. I don't have them up, but I will get them up.
okay.
Just a second. Okay. Here we go. So we're looking at statistics for July 2020. A couple of things to note. Obviously, our statistics are dramatically different from what they were last year. And we have seen a significant drop in the circulation of materials, of course. However, there are increases that are worth noting as well. So overdrive circulation is up 26% over July of 2019. Canopy streaming movies is up 148% over July of 2019. So those are worth paying attention to. Overall, anything electronic has gone up. It's our physical circulation that has gone down. So hopefully we'll be able to see some changes to this in the coming months as we plan to reopen in September, and then we'll see if there's a significant increase then versus just having curbside.
So for curbside, you had what, 298 pickups?
Right.
Wow. That's good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. So the things I'm going to be looking at for September, which will be the October report, or for the October meeting, are is curbside going to decrease when we reopen? Is it going to stay the same? Are we just going to add to what we've been doing, and our materials will start circulating even more? Or are things going to stay relatively the same? So those are the areas that I want to kind of pay attention to.
Yes, it's all, thanks, Erin. It's all an unknown. I mean, we're going to do a soft opening, but we don't know if, people are going to be knocking down the doors, or if they're, really going to be hesitant to come in and stick with curbside. I think North Andover, I think it was, or no, Tingsboro, I think, opened, and they didn't really announce anything. They just let people that were coming to the library discover, oh, the doors are open, and they came in. So but the problem with us is our doors aren't going to be open. They decided not to do appointments, and they're going to see how that goes. Whereas we went the other way. We're going to start with appointments and see how that goes, and go from there. But I'm digressing, so I should probably stick with the budget report for now. I mean, the director's report. So facilities, the air filters on the HVAC system were replaced last week. I'm really pleased with that. This is supposed to improve air filtration for opening to the public. There are 2 smoke alarms. Our alarm was going off a lot, and they discovered that they had to disable 2 alarms upstairs because they kept setting it off. So there are still 2 up there, I was assured, but they're going to be replacing the other 2. They may have done that when we weren't here, I don't know. So I'll have to check in with James about that. Programming for adults, virtual yoga on the library lawn actually has become pretty popular. We had 7 the last time. They're continuing through August, and we're setting it up to continue through September. And then Chris Howe, who does the yoga, is hoping to do an evening one again, because there was interest in that. So we'll have to figure out if she does that from the library or from home, or how that's going to work. Writer's Workshop is filling up fast for September. That's an 8-week session. Jane's continuing to run the book club and the genealogy club through Zoom. The community read Zoom discussion is scheduled for September 3rd. So there hasn't been we haven't had people knocking down the doors to take out the book, but we haven't really pushed it all that much either, because we've kind of been busy with other stuff. So it'll basically be Jane's book club plus some other people that read the book. So that discussion will be on September 3rd, and Jane and I will both be running that. And I'm looking at some additional programming for the fall. Programming youth, it continues virtual story time and Minecraft, which is basically a social club. They all just kind of check in with each other and play Roblox. That's continuing, and Take and Make crafts are still offered weekly with curbside pickup, and they're going to continue that on into September. And those have been pretty popular. Staff, curbside is keeping us busy as we continue to strategize for reopening. Katie is picking up her children in North Carolina the last weekend of August and may need to quarantine and work from home if her COVID-19 test results upon returning are delayed, which I think we can probably count on them being. Friends and volunteers, still no volunteers in the building, but Tammy Cotter and Pam Kinney are both going to help us the week before we open with some of the just cleaning out stuff and shifting computers, because we're gonna have to relocate several of the computers. So that will be a huge help. Preparing for reopening. After much back and forth with the staff, I consulted with Liz Babbitt from MBLC about not allowing children in the building, because it occurred to me that state aid requirements dictate that libraries be open to everyone. Some libraries have been getting into trouble even just with having the hour for just seniors, because that means you're excluding other people. We're starting off without a separate hour for seniors, in part because so many of our patrons are seniors. But you know, we'll reassess as we go on. I had a good conversation with her. You know, they're keeping all the state requirements in place for right now, because they're afraid if they loosen them, too many municipalities will start slashing budgets and laying off staff. So they're sticking with them right now early in the fiscal year, but they're well aware that they're probably going to have to make some allowances as the year goes on. But she did strongly advise me not to actually ban children from the building. So we batted around and we tried to come up with wordage that doesn't ban them, but strongly encourages that they not be brought into the building. So that wordage that we came up with are: there are no toys available in the children's room. We encourage adult browsing only in the children's room. If children must come with their adult, please be sure only adults do the touching. If in doubt, check it out and bring it home. All over 2 must wear masks and have an appointment. So in other words, we can talk about it more as the parent. If parents make an appointment, or a family makes an appointment, they have to make an appointment for every person that's entering the building in order to meet our occupancy limits. Margaret?
So just a couple of things with your language. I would put the word age before the number because it's a little bit unclear. I mean, we know what we're talking about, but I would put age 13
Yeah,
and age
okay.
2.
Yeah,
And I understand not having children there. I just feel like this is so, the library was the one place I could bring my children. I know we're in a pandemic, but I really feel like maybe even taking out the word must and write if children do, because it just sounds awful. It sounds like we don't want your children here, which,
I
well,
know. I know.
and I know that's kind of what's behind it, but I just feel like it's really, really unwelcoming. And if you
Yeah.
could change the word must to do,
Sure,
I think that would be better.
sure. That's- Go ahead.
And I like the if in doubt, check it out and bring it home. Anyway, those are my little bits.
Okay. Yeah, and I totally know what you're saying, and basically everything we're writing out and messaging goes against everything
I
we've always done
know.
here.
I
And
know.
it is very frustrating. But yeah, we do want to encourage, online access and other ways to use the library without children coming in. But we also want to emphasize that all these measures are for your safety as well
Of
as ours.
course. Right. And you
So
might want to reiterate. You might want to reiterate that.
That's
This is
actually a
gonna be
good idea.
Can I
Emphasize
interrupt a minute?
I mean,
Cherry's in the meeting, Jean, but she's muted. Maybe you can,
Oh,
she's in by
sorry, I
phone.
didn't even see her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she may be muted at her end or she
I
couldn't
think
connect.
she is, because it's not letting me unmute her.
She was having trouble connecting with audio. That's what it was saying while you were.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
oh, can I just keep talking for a minute
Yeah.
about the children? Sorry. Many of our patrons with children won't be going into their school buildings, which is understandable, but you are able to limit the number of people even coming into this pretty large space so that it could be one place where a parent who's lonely can bring their child for half an hour just to feel like they're out in the community and they're out of their house in a space other than, their home. So I just wanted to say that too.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
as
I'm done.
long as the child is supervised, that's the
Yes.
concerns of
Of
Katie and
course.
Pauline.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because-
that's understandable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I wanted to say, I just sent out a little while ago an article from the Atlantic, which is based in part on an article. This is from the end of July, an article that was in Lancet magazine about the low, next to zero incidence of people getting COVID from surfaces. And I didn't send it out to say we need to change any of our cleaning policies or anything, but really as a way to maybe ease anxiety in the staff, particularly. And one of the examples given in this article was there was a case in South Korea in which in a huge call center, multi-storied building, one wing or one area, people got sick from somebody who had COVID because of this air circulation. Nobody else of 1,000 people who have been in the elevators up and down all day, touching other surfaces, railings, whatever, got sick. And so this person is saying that there may be an overreaction in terms of hygiene, comparing it to the kind of reaction we had after 9/11 in terms of security. Things get out of whack, understandably. So I'm not arguing that we need to change anything or change our policy, but only to say that you don't have to feel personally quite so intense about this, perhaps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point, Dick.
The other thing I wanted to raise, and I don't know if it's in the director's report or whether it's about the opening policy, but because the schools aren't going to be open to students, that also means that school libraries aren't going to be open to students. And I think we have to think actively about what that means in terms of the demand on our library for students to have access to materials that they might need. I don't know how, I don't know what to expect, but I think it's something worth consideration.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that Katie communicated with somebody at Triton. I don't know if she's communicated with NES. I hope Jen is still there, Dick.
Yes.
Good. Glad to hear that. So yeah, I will run that by her. I'll remind her that, definitely keep the connections open.
Yeah, because if we can get materials that the kids need, and this is an access point that they don't have going to their school library, we should try to make that possible for them.
Absolutely. And we just went back and forth on kids, and quite a few libraries have closed their children's room. Newburyport's children's room is closed, but they have a browsing area for kids. I guess in the lobby, I think, if I understand it correctly. So we were trying to figure out how we could finagle that, but we couldn't figure out a way to do it without creating a bottleneck as people came in the building. If anybody has any ideas, I mean, we're not really using the community room for anything other than quarantining materials and deliveries. And we can't really keep tabs on that room. So it's, if we had the spot to do a browsing collection and we may still do this grab and go kits where, if you love dinosaurs, we'll, a bag full of 6 books on dinosaurs or trucks.
How about the big table where we would meet in the news, in the magazine newspaper section?
We thought about that. We talked about that yesterday, but we just felt like it might get noisy and congested, and yeah, that's kind of where we landed on that.
All right, and then your other area is probably maybe the old reference desk. It's another area potentially. The tables around that, we were talking about that the other day in terms of displays on those tables. Maybe there's something, it's a little further away and it wouldn't be in the main flow of traffic off to the sides. Something to think about.
Yeah. We'll keep chewing on that.
All right.
Okay, where am I? Yes, all right. So staff hours. Staff will work 9 to 5 on Tuesday. 9 to 5 Tuesday and Fridays. Uh-oh, here comes Terry again.
Okay.
See if I can get her.
This looks hopeful. Terry, can you hear us? No.
Yeah, I don't see an unmute or anything.
No.
Oh, now I do. Wait a minute.
I am muting her.
Still, oh, there, Terry. Well, she's unmuted.
Okay.
She should probably get out of the other one that she was in, because she's in 2. All right, well, we'll keep waiting.
Yep.
We're here, Terry, waiting for you. Where am I? Yes, okay, so 9 to 5 Tuesday, so 4 8-hour days, basically a week. And we can talk about the hours open after that, and rotating Saturday.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Can you see me?
No?
Oh,
Not yet.
Okay, don't worry about seeing me. I see you and I can hear you.
okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Go.
All right.
Where am I? I'm attempting to improvise an indoor book drop, which I said I would describe in greater detail. I don't know if anybody, probably only Dick saw this, but there's Terry. Oh,
Terry.
can you talk on that one?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
And I've been listening to you guys. I'm up with the meeting, but I couldn't get in it.
Okay.
Okay?
So we have some bins outside that are lovely bins filled with CDs, and 4 ginormous bins filled with CDs and DVDs that look like they've hardly ever been used, that somebody just left there. This was probably like a month and a half ago. So I'm looking into using those. We would stack them so people didn't have to reach down too much, and having a slit in them. And I have a cart. I just bought a cart like you had, Dick, but mine is nicer. It's not made out of wood. And we'll put them on there and people can hopefully return their items in there. I'm going to get my husband to slice a thing, make a slice in the top so that people can put their books through there. We'll start out with that and we'll see where it ends up. Just so many of these things are so expensive. There was no possible way to do an outdoor book drop because those are $4,000 or $5,000. So that will be our improvised situation if it works out, to avoid people coming in and returning. We don't want them returning the books in the normal place. And then we can just wheel them into the meeting room and quarantine them. So,
I mean, we used to have an outdoor book drop.
yeah,
It used to be a town hall, wasn't it?
it was a town hall. And when Sam Jocelyn redid town hall, they didn't say anything to us. They brought it over here and dumped it in front of the library. And I believe the consensus here was, well, we really don't need one here. We need it at a town hall for people to,
Yeah.
we don't need one here. So as far as I remember, DPW picked it up and that's the last I heard about it. So
Okay.
as I said, Leslie Haley from Town Hall had contacted me to know what had happened to that because she wanted to use it for mail-in ballots.
Oh,
But-
right.
And then I suggested there might be some CARES Act funding for mail-in ballots, but she said it would probably get here too late.
Yeah. So they just slide it under the door.
Slide it under the door. But you can knock on the door and hand it to someone.
I know. I did that.
Good. So that's book. Erin, did you have something? Oh, you're scratching your fur. Okay. Did everybody get a look at the email from the town accountant about reimbursement?
I looked at it. Can you translate it?
I know it was a little, yeah.
Did that answer the question? Because I did not. It makes me feel better, Dick. I did not understand what she said.
No, me neither. No.
Well,
Oh,
what
that
I need to find out, I have to get for some reason, they haven't sent out the monthly balances, because what I'm not clear on is if they're taking money out of our, we're submitting the bills against library expenses, and are they taking that out of library expenses and then they're going to, push it back in there? Or it's, accountants they look at things entirely different. So I will know that as soon as I get a monthly balance to see if indeed these expenses have been coming from our budget. I think she's keeping track of it on a separate line, and then when everything's reimbursed, she'll supposedly shove it into ours.
Yeah, it's just that there was a big maybe in her response, right?
Yes,
Doesn't
and
know.
admitting that it is fluid.
Yeah. Not a word you want to hear.
Right.
Yeah, no, I know. And I did email her back and teased her and said, I guess it's hard to say anything definitive anymore, but, it is what it is. All right, so what else we have here? DPW will be building more plexiglass barriers for us before we open. We're going to have more down in children's. We're moving Pauline out of her little office and putting her back at the children's circulation desk, but we have to keep distance between her and Katie. So we're going to actually have a wall that Katie is certain she's going to walk into every day. So that Pauline has an access to her spot and Katie has an access out without getting too close. And then we're going to have additional plexiglass at the Circ desk here at Children's Circ, and then we have a mobile, sorry, I'm using my hands, I realize, a mobile Circ desk set up right in front of Erin and I's office. That was Erin's idea, where when Marcia and Jane are not at the desk for whatever reason, and people need to check out, we can't just go there and start using their workstation. We have to be somewhere else. So we've set up laptops, and I'm getting a Bluetooth scanner and a Bluetooth receipt printer to use there. Things that I would have purchased anyway for going out into the world if that ever happens again, going to an activity somewhere. If you have these Bluetooth scanners, you can check people out and do all kinds of things. So it was a worthwhile purchase. And lastly, Fred Davis has agreed to do 1 hour of disinfecting of high-touch areas early morning each day we're open. So that's $100 a week, $25 an hour, which is pretty reasonable. 100 a week, and that's another 500 in addition to what we're paying him now for just general cleaning. And this will be invoiced separately. Hopefully we will be reimbursed. Because if we're not, it's going to be tricky. But month to month, you know, certainly for 1 month. We'll see what happens down the line. Yes, Dick?
Did I see someplace where there was a cleaning fee that was going to be $900 a month? Or,
Yes. That was the original quote.
oh, so it's down to $500.
Yeah. I talked him down. He panicked, I guess, when he looked at our list, our checklist. And he came in and we talked, and
Okay,
he decided he could do it in an hour, and he wouldn't charge 30, he would charge us 25. So,
okay, thanks.
yeah. And I think that's it for the director's report. Are there any other questions? Yes, Margaret?
I just want to, it's not a question. I just have to tell you that I have to leave in about 5 minutes to retrieve the daughter who I had to drop off at a lesson. There's no one else to pick her up. So my apologies, but I'll be gone in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. And you got a copy of the draft reopening plan, Margaret?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
I think I did.
I don't
I
think
didn't
there are
print
any
it
votes
out.
to be taken, right?
I'm sorry, what, Dick?
We're not going to be taking any votes on anything today, are we?
Well, I was hoping you'd approve this. And, you know, as I was saying to Erin yesterday, it's, you know, this isn't, we wish we could have done a really comprehensive plan with all the supplies we're going to need and all this stuff, because as Erin pointed out yesterday, it's important to have an archive of what we did in case somebody has to do it again someday. But neither of us really have the time to do that at this point. So this plan it's really just so that the trustees are aware of the basics of what we're doing. It's really more for services provided and less about all the things we're doing to provide service like HVAC and all that. It's just so that, you know, the trustees know basically what we're offering for services and how we're doing that and approving it. It's in other towns, you know, Board of Health worked together with directors and town administrators and came up with plans. This is what, you know, we put together. This is for the trustees to approve. And then the rest is minutia. It's basically all the stuff that we have to do to make this happen. Does that make sense?
Yes. Me. The only question I have is this document going to be public or is it just internal?
It will be public.
Okay.
You know, it'll be on our website,
So
but we're not, you know, we're not going to be handing it out to people as they come through the door.
I had a few editorial suggestions about clarity, but I didn't know whether it would be necessary.
That's, if you want to try and approve it with, you know, the caveat that you can make some edits, that would be great. It's just, you know, it's a question of time and I'm on vacation next week. But that's why I was hoping you'd approve it today. Erin, did you have something to say?
Yeah, so just to confirm, the reopening plan will be public and I will be putting it on the website?
Yes.
Okay, so probably, even though it's not a policy, but a plan, it should go somewhere near the policy?
Yes.
Thinking to live, okay.
And probably on the COVID page too.
And link to it.
Because Erin, while I'm on vacation, is going to be working on the messaging, the flyers that we will have here, telling people about the health requirements and the appointment only, coming in the building and all of that. So, you know, we have to get all that together and get that to the public. But this is just sort of for trustees and staff to work from, so that we're all on the same page. And we all agree, assuming we do. So I don't know if you want me to go through everything or if you'd rather just pick out things you have thoughts about.
If you have edit points,
I just have a few. In the third bullet point, appointments are for one person only. I think after must book, you should add individually, so it's clear.
After must book well,
Family members
yes,
either
they
must book
should,
in
but if it's
or
for
separately,
children,
because it's not, I mean, what I mean is they have to book each person in, and counting against the 15-person limit
okay,
we
so
set. And it's just a little unclear.
must book individually?
Or
Is that what you're saying?
separately, or is anybody else unclear about it? It may be unnecessary. This is how it rang to me.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree with you. It's
Must
something
book
I forgot to
separately?
say.
Does that sound right? Separately for each
Yeah,
children? Each
yeah.
children.
Each
Each
person,
person, including children.
Right.
yeah.
Does
Okay.
that make it clear though? Because does that make it clear that you can book them for the same time slot?
Yeah.
Because people might think, I know it sounds weird, but
No.
they might think that it's just one person per time slot, but that's not the case.
So instead of arriving together, you could say family members wishing to share a time slot must book each person in separately, including children, or something, you know. I can send you a.
That sounded great.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't think that wishing to arrive together would say the same thing?
It's just I'm just trying to make it as clear as possible, and it's just
Yeah.
Yep.
it just struck me as a little vague. I don't know why it did, but it did. It's like it was a
Well, no,
little
right.
be a little more specific.
It
Okay.
struck me the same way though. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And I think you resolved it beautifully with those words, whatever they were.
Want me to send it by-
Yeah, what were they
Because
again?
All right, family
you could
members.
say something like anybody sharing the same time slot must include their name, something like that.
I just wanted, we were trying to gear it, I think, toward families, so that a mom wouldn't just bring her 3 kids along without booking an appointment.
So
Right.
if I can speak to the program that we're using to do the bookings, it's called Acuity. And the way it's set up, it won't allow you to book one overall person and then just add names. Unfortunately, it has to be a separate booking for each person. It's a little clunky, but it's very well priced. And
And it helps us keep to the 15-person.
Exactly. Right. It helps
Yeah.
you with your person count.
Yeah.
That's why I thought you were doing it. It makes perfect sense what you're doing. There's no apology necessary. It's just the wording.
yeah.
Yeah, Dick,
So
Dick
another
had some good.
suggestion. Another suggestion. Family members sharing a time slot must add each person to their. No, I had it before and I've lost it. I'll have to think about it again. Sorry.
Do you want to send it, and if the trustees
let me
are
diddle with
okay
it.
with
But we know where we're
approving?
aiming, and I'll send it to everybody. And
Okay.
if we like it, we can accept it. But it's
yeah, and as we discussed this, we can, you can send all of the edits afterwards. We can just approve it with the edits that we've discussed as part of this meeting.
yeah. I only have 2 other ones, and it's really just one is a missing apostrophe in children's room.
Okay?
Oh, that's always an issue. Children's librarians have been fighting for years over whether that should be there or not.
Well, I know, but it's and
Yeah, yeah.
then the fourth from the bottom, checkouts only and circulation desk has some misspelling for unavailable.
Right.
Oh, it sure is. Thank you.
So it was just that one sentence. I mean, we can talk about the content.
Yeah.
My
And-
feeling is that the decision's still right to me, but the wording feels a little stern, and I have to think about it. I haven't spent a lot of time. And I think when excuse me, Margaret, when you said must be looking, to to look at some of the quantity, you know, when you add up like 5 shall nots, you get the 10 commandments, but it doesn't always make for a fun read. And I think
No, and it was our intention. Remember, Erin, we were trying to not be stern, but when you start having to list out all these things, that you
no, I
lose
know.
track of that. So
But I need to spend a little while with that to think about whether the changes I think might make sense actually are right or not. And I can't, having just received it, I can't, didn't have the time
okay.
to do that and do that. But I'm happy to.
And I think unless, we're not going to radically change anything that's in the document. I think
No, it's just language.
It's language and the presentation of the
Yeah.
information, how that's framed. And I think we can approve it with the understanding that Dick or Terry or Alex or Margaret, anybody is going to offer their edits, Gene and Aaron, and it'll be modified accordingly.
Yeah, one of my suggestions is this, that currently, that's why I asked whether it was internal or external, is it's written with a lot of shorthand.
Yes.
I think if it's going to be public, we have to eliminate the shorthand.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should be,
And probably in preparing this to be public, we'll probably take out things that are either bold or in all caps and things like
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. I was doing that just so that
For you to see focus points, yeah, but
So do you guys want to take another pass at it first before?
Well, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and Erin has a lot of stuff. So, Dick, it would be very helpful.
I'm happy to. I just didn't want to steal anybody's thunder.
Yeah, no, and I apologize for not getting it to you sooner. It's just
All
been
right.
kind of
I've had a
crazy.
busy week. It might not have made much of a difference to me. So.
Okay. All right. So yes, and
Okay.
I'll be checking email next week. But Erin, if you'd rather not have this on your plate, we can both deal with it when I get back. It's up to you.
well, the question, so what deadline do we want to put on this? When do we want to get this online? And then we can kind of work backwards from there. So we definitely want it up before we reopen, right?
Yes.
yes.
So how far before? Probably, the Friday before. Is that?
Yeah.
So that would be September 4th would be our deadline. So we have a little time
Yeah.
to, edit.
That's fine.
Right. Will there be? Okay. Will there be another trustees meeting before we reopen?
I wasn't planning on one. I don't know about.
Okay.
If we
This
need
was
to,
supposed to be the last one.
Okay.
But if we need to, we will.
we can.
Something comes up.
Right. I agree with that.
If we need to. If something emerges in the next 2 weeks that say, oh, well, before we open, we really need to gather and discuss this. But I think in terms of this particular document, it can be approved as presented with the understanding that edited consistently discussion held today.
Yeah.
Consistent with the discussion.
It's going to be edited for grammar, basically.
Yes,
Grammar, but
Grammar and
also
style.
presentation
Grammar and
style. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Not content. I'm not changing any policy.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
The
But so
intent stays.
Speaking of policy, you may notice that I did highlight bathrooms, and I've really been on the fence with this one too, because our plan had been to not have bathrooms available. When I mentioned this at the department heads meeting, Mike Riley, the police chief, and the Board of Health both said, they didn't say I had to have it open, but they said they didn't see any reason not to. So, and I know other libraries, some have them open, some don't. And just for our purposes, I'd rather not. I mean, if we had somebody here who had an emergency, obviously we would let them use the bathroom, but I would prefer not to. We've got a good thing going with, I mean, we're terribly spoiled. We each have our own bathroom basically, which gets cleaned. But I don't know, that just seems a little risky. And Erin, I don't know if we even got to the bathrooms yesterday talking about that, but how does everybody else feel?
I think it's risky. Having just traveled and being 300 miles away, and my sister drove up from Virginia, bathrooms are closed all over the place. And if it's not going to be cleaned after every use, I don't think it's
Right.
good.
And it's not going to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's good, unfortunately.
My only caveat to having all of them closed is that there have been news stories about there being no bathrooms for people and what it does to families with children and things like that. So possibly having one available, like if so like if Ed and I were kayaking, they usually have a porta potty right near the launch or something like that. And if you didn't plan ahead, you know, people have to use that, and it is not sanitized between people. It's a at your own risk kind of thing, but it's there for emergency. So I'm just wondering if it would, and I don't know the answer, but I'm wondering if it would make sense to have one that's open.
What about getting one porta potty outside?
That would look great.
Yeah, I don't know how that would look.
My inclination is I would, Darren, I would like to have one open if that's possible. They could,
And it would get cleaned every day, right? That's
It wouldn't get, well, it's not being cleaned every day now. I mean, ours aren't being cleaned every day, just 3 days a week. So I would have to notify Heather of that.
so their extra cleaning would not have included cleaning the bathrooms.
No. I'd like to think that he would squeeze that in there.
Why don't you check with him and see if that they can, if you can designate one. No,
Okay.
I don't know. That's my feeling. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
Okay.
Well, I know I'm certainly avoiding any public bathrooms, and I think
No, I likewise.
before I leave the house. But not everybody does, or not everybody
Right.
can.
And as Aaron said, if you're with a child, may not get used at all. Who knows? I don't know.
And then the question is, what do we want to have any special signage, about risk?
I would, yeah. Please be advised, this bathroom is not cleaned after each use.
Yes.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
I would take out, please be advised. It is in itself an advisory.
Right.
We'll let you write that one too, Dick.
This bathroom is not cleaned after every use.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah, we all tend to take that please be advised kind of tone around here. I don't know why.
Well, it's legalistic, and in this case,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Clearly state this bathroom may be contaminated. Use it.
Yeah,
Use it your own risk. Yeah.
Crap out
Use
of
at
them.
your own risk.
If you use it, don't come back in the library. Sorry. This is by the way, this is being recorded.
Yes.
yes. It's a tough decision.
It is.
it is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think,
Look, I'm not in the library all day, every day, the way you guys are. My instinct as a citizen is I wish there were one that were open. But if this is something you feel is threatening to you in some way, I want to hear about it as opposed to simply unsafe for patrons. Because if patrons are aware of the risks, that it's not being cleaned after each use, then it's up to them to make that decision.
Right.
But if there's an issue for you personally, then you need to first look at it.
All right.
And it can be my bathroom. That's fine. And I can share with, Jane or something like that.
No, I'd rather have, like, you and I share
Yep.
and have that just be the public bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
All right. Okay, so we'll take that out. We won't even say anything about bathrooms. Not really any reason to. Our signage will, advise
No,
people.
I think we should have in the draft plan, it can say, one bathroom will be available that will not be cleaned after
Okay,
its use. Might as well let
All
people
right.
know what to expect.
okay. So you'll include that, Dick?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Thank you. All right, well, anything else anybody feels we
I
should?
think we'll take a vote to approve the reopening plan as presented with the edited grammar modifications that Dick will undertake. That's an agreement. We have a motion.
Don't move.
Second. Motion
Second.
made. Terry made a second.
Yeah.
Okay. The ayes have it. So that's the plan. Okay. One other thing, it has nothing to do with reopening. Broader subject town. You may be aware that there's a group, and I believe it's a citizens group that is looking at the needs for a senior center. I don't know if you've heard this. And I don't know where they're at and how they came about, but I got an email from one of them wanting to know about the second story at the library. It's available, they're trying to do something for the seniors. I advised them that there is no second story. It's a mechanical space. And the other question was, is there additional land there that's available? Land is pretty limited. There's a ball field and there's limited land there. I did direct them to the land that the town bought on Kent Way years ago for additional athletic fields, which nothing has happened with.
Oh, right.
Also indicated to them their enrollments at NES are down. Was there additional space available at NES? There's a potential location to expand the senior center there. And also at the time we built NES, about 4 acres of land that abuts the parking lot behind Maple, whatever that street is, Terrace, whatever. There's 4 acres of land there, so I kind of directed them in that direction. I requested that if this is going to be part of an ongoing discussion, should be a discussion with the trustees. Keep us informed of any discussions talking about the library. I didn't want them going forward with anything, because I don't know what our future expansion needs may be for the library. I'd like to think going forward, in some future time, in another time warp or whatever, that the library is going to be very important in this town, and we may have to make some modifications and expand it somehow. So I don't want to see our space become limited. Sure. Citizens get out there beating the drums for this. I wanted to, kind of want it if I could. So I obviously indicated that we need to hear about any discussions that they're having. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
Dick, do you know, because I know the director and I think her assistant have both retired of COA, so are they planning on moving back in there, or?
I don't know. I don't even know how official. I don't know who. I don't know who's really. I know one of the people on this group, the person that contacted me. Who else is involved? I have no idea. I don't know if there's any official standing or status, or it's just a concerned citizens who are out there looking at this. I don't disagree with it. I was on a study committee 10 years ago to look at the expansion of for a senior center. And we had the location picked out on Scotland Road, and Dick Cunningham was donating the land. Okay?
Wow.
So see how far we got with that. Now, that was 10, almost 15 years ago at this point. So it was recognized as a need then. We've done nothing about that. And I also suggested that maybe this individual kind of get the town to focus on the overall facilities needs for the town as opposed to doing it piecemeal, because it's going to be not the way to do business. It's going to cost you more in the long run, and it just becomes a pain in the neck. So, just to give you a heads up that this is out there and it's ongoing. I don't know where it's going to go.
The fact that they were thinking about a second floor location is ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
It's where the old people want to go.
exactly. Yeah.
Build an elevator.
Get an elevator. Oh, we could throw a hoist out the window or something. Who knows? But just to let you know that that's out there. Hopefully it's not going to go anywhere. I think the town does need to address the needs of the seniors. There's a lot of us. Not that I take advantage of it, but maybe if there was different programming going on, just to give you a heads up.
I went there once when I had to choose Social Security, and it was confusing, and I had somebody that helped me.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, senior center used to be a room in town hall, at the back end of the selectmen's meeting room, that little alcove, that was the senior center. And when we did the elementary school, we were able to, get them some space in there. And programmatically, they were doing generational programming with the kids in the school. So it worked out well. And then, I don't know how they're doing it now, but it is a limited space in terms of there's very limited privacy. So if they have anybody coming in to discuss health issues, financial issues with people, it's really difficult to do that in a degree of privacy. So yeah, it needs to be addressed. So I just offer that as it's out there. So be aware.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? So Alex, we were going to move some more furniture maybe next week. Erin, how's next Thursday for you?
Next Thursday looks great.
Alex? So
Should be
like
fine.
10:30. We got some small tables, I think, and then whatever else Erin comes up with, that we
Okay.
can tuck this stuff away. And we'll leave it up to you, Erin. You were going to identify anything that really needed to be moved. But I think, on just as another heads up, the fire chief went through the building on Tuesday, Gene?
Yes.
That was Tuesday, yeah. And the way we've got stuff laid out, where we tucked all the furniture, Alex and Terry, everything we did there, that was fine. We didn't block any exits or pathways or anything, so Doug was fine with that. So, we had no problem. So
We were aware of it, so good.
yeah. So let's figure on 10:30 next
Do
Thursday.
you need me there?
I don't think so, Terry. I think
Okay.
just those small round tables that, that they're using for putting papers and things. So we're going to move that. And I think that's essentially it. It's maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. All right.
10:30 then, Dick.
Okay, 10:30 next Thursday.
Thank
Good
you.
enough.
Okay, and
Good enough.
if need be, that's when I'll sign anything that needs to be signed next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So. Okay. Let's wrap this up at 11:07. Gene, have a great vacation. Stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Enjoy your time with your daughter. Glad she's
I
feeling
will.
better.
Bye, everybody.
Hey,
Bye.
bye. Bye.